now I want to get to one final segment, which kind of wraps everything up, especially goes to what Trump has done with Iran. And we talked about the fact that the panicans were out there absolutely going apoplectic, that Trump dropped a few bombs on Iran. Oh my God, it's World War III, it's World War III. Well, we now know from Trump's most recent tweet that Iran has already come to the table. There are already deals in the works for a ceasefire. But the panicans were also saying, one of the other narratives that they were giving was that Trump is ignoring his domestic agenda, right? No one's talking about the big, beautiful bill. What's happening with immigration and deportations? Well, what I want to show you is that two things are happening. One, the immigration and deportations have continued at an ever increasing clip. An appellate court just handed Trump a major victory, saying that people can be deported to a third party country. So that ends that whole argument that you can't deport, somebody to a country that is not theirs. Yeah, we can deport them anywhere we want. Bye-bye. You're out of the country. And they've ramped up the immigration enforcement. I think the latest I heard was their quota is 600 a day, just per state. Like it's massive. They have massive operations going on to deport people. I've got reports here in Texas that ICE has been showing up to construction job sites. And there are wholesale people that have fake social security numbers, because I know the owners of these companies and they use E-Verify. So they've got entire workforces working on government and major commercial projects. And their entire workforce is under E-Verify, which means they have fraudulent social security numbers. But when ICE shows up at the job site, he said literally the entire workforce scattered, left tools, left vehicles running, you name it. He said, it's absolutely nuts. He said, and I verified each one of them. So now we know the level to which, the depth to which has gone on the immigration side. But at the same time, we've got great news out of the Senate. One, John Thune came out and basically said, we are not going on recess until we pass the big, beautiful bill. And Mark Wayne Mullen seconded that.
Well, guys, it's Monday morning, and I've got to admit, I'm not the biggest basketball fan of all times. However, I did watch the game last night. So congratulations to the Thunder, congratulations to Oklahoma. It was exciting to see us bring back a championship to Oklahoma, and I was excited for the fans. What are we doing here in Washington, D.C. this week? Obviously, there's a lot of talk going on about what took place over the weekend. We'll get into that later on through the week. But what about the One Big Beautiful Bill? People are saying, does this distract us from One Big Beautiful Bill? No. Leader Thune has made it very clear we are going to stay here until we get this voted out of the Senate and sent back to the House and get it to the President's desk. There is no daylight between us, between the House, and between the President. In fact, the President was on the phone dealing with Iran and Israel, and at the same time dealing with One Big Beautiful Bill. It's absolutely amazing. I talked to my wife yesterday and I was like, it's truly an example of leadership that I'm learning a lot from, because the way he's able to pivot, the way he's able to just stay even keel, make decisions, move on, make a deal, move on, and still lead from the front with consistency is absolutely, honestly, it's something that I take into consideration every day right now, because I'm watching a true leader work. We're delivering.
Fantastic. Absolutely true. Trump maintains an even keel. He doesn't get emotional, and he leads. Now, at the same time he was dealing with Iran, he was pushing the big, beautiful bill. And he's not oblivious to it either. He's got his eye on every detail. So we now know that he's been pushing Thune, and Thune has basically said, we are not leaving. No senator will leave until we've passed this back to the House to set up for signature. But while all that's going on, Trump is not oblivious to what is going on in the big, beautiful bill. I hate green tax credits in the great big beautiful bill. They are largely a giant scam. I would much prefer that this money be used somewhere else, including reductions. Anywhere would be preferable. Windmills, the rest of this junk is the most expensive and inefficient energy in the world. So he's basically calling out elements that have been put into the big beautiful bill that he wants out. Absolutely. So this is amazing. Trump has his finger on every single aspect. And it is because of that the Dems have their lowest approval rating in history at 21%. 2 in 10 people actually think they're worth voting for. But at the same time, Trump's approval rating is taking off like a rocket, and it is scaring the Dems and everybody else to death. Check this out, because Trump is becoming a juggernaut. Breaking. Trump's approval rating surges to a whopping +7, 53.46. He is on the rise. Media narrative is currently bombing. We've got another example of that right here from Trafalgar presidential approval poll, 54 to 44. Rasmussen in the last couple of days had him as high as 56. This is absolutely amazing. This is bombshell stuff, because leading in with getting the now that if he succeeds in ending this thing with Iran, if he can just get Putin over the hump in Ukraine, and he gets this big beautiful bill passed, and he gets this economic juggernaut rolling, they will roll into the midterms. He could theoretically have a 60% approval rating and essentially drag a whole bunch of congressmen and senators with his coattails across the line, and maybe even expand their advantages in the House and Senate. This would be absolutely amazing. He could pick up seats, which is almost unheard of. But this is what Trump is doing, y'all, and it's absolutely amazing. So the big breaking news, we are headed towards a ceasefire in Iran. I think Trump has played this masterfully. I didn't see a ceasefire happening that fast, I'll be honest, but it looks like the competence, the precision, the power, the secrecy of the strike that we pulled off has basically shocked the Iranians into the US can hit us anywhere, anytime they want. We can't fight this. We've got to take a different tact. I'm hoping that's what happened. Let's see how this plays out in the next 24 hours, because that's when this ceasefire should be cemented and in place. Really appreciate everybody being here. Liberal Dems are so lost deep in the forest. That's right. They cannot see anything. They have no money. They're broke. We found out that basically on Friday that the Democrat Party is broke. Their donors have abandoned them. And amazing. I do want to say this one thing as a parting shot. When I saw the story that the Democrat Party was basically broke and begging for money and borrowing to maintain whatever commitments they had and pay their payroll, the media story was, well, big donors have abandoned them. And I immediately thought, and I want to know what you think in the comments. Yeah, have the big donors might have abandoned them. That's true. I think their biggest donor abandoned them. That being the US taxpayer through illegally laundered money. Trump and Doge and his cabinet have shut down USAID. They have shut down money laundering scheme after money laundering scheme after money laundering scheme in the US government. And we have come to find out that all that money was laundered to NGOs, to further NGOs, eventually back into Democrat coffers and Democrat politician pockets. I think the Democrat Party has lost their biggest donor, that being USAID and everything surrounding it, and all the money that they illegally laundered from US taxpayers and put into their own pocket. That's what I think. I think that's the biggest reason why the Democrat Party is currently bankrupt. Let me know what you think. Would love to hear from you in the comments. Thanks everybody for being here. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share Courageous Media with everybody that you know. Let's drive so that we can get the word out. We can keep defending our country. Really appreciate everybody being here. Thanks so much. Remember, God is good and He is sovereign. It'll all be good in the end. On my sister channel, I am going to be doing a video talking about, are we in the end times? Because I've been getting that question a lot. Seems like much less so now that we got a ceasefire, but let's go. You guys are awesome. Have a great afternoon.